Hey Shepherd family, thanks for joining us here in Shepherd Studios as we're talking about Family Promise coming up in December. I'm joined by June Olson, by Marianne Kruger, and Pam Muir as we're thinking and talking and planning for the December week of hosting Family Promise. Family Promise is an organization that uses churches and other nonprofit spiritual religious groups to provide housing for families that are displaced so that they can get back on their feet and provide sustainable lifestyles for themselves moving forward. We were able to have 3 families on our campus in June, and we hosted that Family Promise Week. Could you 3 just tell me a little bit about how that experience went, and maybe even just talk a little bit about how you were brought into contact with Family Promise to begin with?
Well, our first introduction to Family Promise was when Marianne and Chris Doyle, our women's Bible study leaders, invited Lisa Randall from Family Promise to come and make a presentation about this wonderful ministry, and we were intrigued, to say the least. We could help and hand up on this project. Our women's Bible study has done lots of projects before. The 2 main ones are the Bags for the Homeless and the Easter Basket Project, which Pam led. And they were very successful every time. People just step up and do whatever they can. So knowing the generosity of our group, and their fervent desire to serve, Marianne, Pam, and I decided to just venture forth, research it, and see if we could make it happen for our church's mission.
I remember when we had the Zoom call with the pastors and with you 3, and we were talking about what Family Promise meant, and the passion that you guys brought into that conversation was really inspiring. And actually, Family Promise is an organization that some of the churches I've worked with in the past have participated alongside of, and so to hear that it was capturing your hearts and passions as well was really encouraging. So tell me about how June went and just the overall experience in the summer as we had Family Promise here at Shepherd.
I think we were initially really fearful that we could pull it off. Just thinking about the logistics, and also would we get everything that we needed, because we had no budget for this. There was no line item for this service project. So we were basically starting from scratch. And we wondered, well, is the congregation going to come through? Are they going to help us? But I've had such history with this amazing congregation. You ask and they provide. And oh my gosh, they really did. It was amazing.
We didn't have to worry. We put out a sign-up sheet on Sunday mornings so they could volunteer to bring food. They could help as a host for the overnight duty, and they could help with the activities for the kids. And we had a jar for monetary donations.
And we asked for the sheets and the
yes,
towels.
And we had a bin for that. Well, the thing just kept overflowing. And actually, it was amazing. We had a whole room full of donations.
We did.
We had to go through, we spent a couple days sorting.
We did.
Taking care of it. And then our women's Bible study volunteered too, because, so amongst the donations we had sheets, pillowcases, blankets, towels, washcloths, toiletries, games, toys, puzzles. And the women took home the linens to wash them for our guests.
Oh, wow.
I mean, when you think about it, there are so many things to do. And we were told about one of the challenging things was to find host families. And we even had a family that signed up to take care of everything for one night, from bringing the food to serving it, entertaining the kids, and they stayed overnight as the overnight host. So that was awesome. One time I tried to count the number of volunteers that helped. It was too many to count.
Oh, wow.
Because there were so many different avenues,
Yeah.
and there was a place for everybody to donate.
And I'm sure
help.
it was such an encouragement, especially to me as someone who's in leadership, but also to the whole ministry staff team, but any involved volunteers, to see the congregation kind of rally around something that really makes a difference and kind of fulfills that command and instruction and encouragement we have from God as children of Him to care for other people and to try and provide for some of the needs that people have out in the world. So seeing that preparation and that volunteering and that donating spirit was just incredible to witness personally. Tell me about how the week itself went in June. Just any lessons that you learned, or just how did the experience in June go? How many families did we have? How are they doing? That sort of stuff.
Typically, you have 4 families with the Family Promise Host Week. And we know that because we did a lot of research ahead of time, and you gave us a reference, and we had other churches within the valley that do host weeks. So we talked to them about what are some of the areas that we need to be thinking about, what are some of the concerns. And they've always had 4 families, so we were anticipating that we would have 4 families.
And
But-
up to 20 people.
Right. So,
Oh, really?
yes. But I think because it was hot, the hottest week of the year,
Well, and also COVID.
yes, that things changed a little bit. So we had 3 families, all 3 single moms with sons. They were all boys.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't quite know what to expect, but we wanted to make sure that they had nice, welcoming conditions because they're sleeping on the floor in air beds, right? And we have them in classrooms, and we had to make dividers because we didn't have enough classrooms. So we tried to do the best that we could to brighten it up, have some welcoming bags. We made welcome signs. But we didn't know what to expect until the van, dropped them off at 5 o'clock on Sunday evening. And I was talking with both Marianne and June about how welcoming we thought we were. And these kids come running up to us, shaking our hand, thanking us for having us. Just the joy. It was just unbelievable. So I think we were more relaxed as soon as we saw the kids, the children. And then I got to tell you, the volunteers stepped up. The meals were wonderful. We had a lot of food. We had a lot of games. What we didn't anticipate was the boys' toys. We had a lot of crayons and books and those kind of things, and these boys wanted Hot Wheels, and they wanted, right?
Yep.
So we
Typical.
we fudged. We got in more boy toys, and they had
made
a
it
good
work,
week.
yeah.
Yeah, but that was funny. So
The other difficult thing, too, is because it was so warm out, we couldn't really let them go out on the playground because it was just too hot. And by that time of day, those boys, like any child, needs to burn off energy, and their mothers are fried. So we wanted to be able to provide some respite for the moms and still let the kids burn off some energy.
Be kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I was only there for a couple of hours one night that week, but even just in that sliver of time that I was exposed to what was happening in the room where they were hosting the meals, seeing the way that the congregation came together, it was not just members that worshiped at Shea or members that worshiped at Mountain View or church staff or people that were regularly involved, but there was preschool staff and families that were involved in donating. And so it really was a collaborative effort.
Yes.
And seeing it come to fruition, even just during the meal that I was a part of and playing with a couple kids and talking with one of the moms, it was a really great and encouraging and meaningful experience. And I just was there, for an hour or two. So
Right.
Really incredible. So coming out of that experience this summer, as you look ahead to December, what does that preparation and planning look like? What are the things that are taking place? How might a family or an individual be involved? What is that next step? What does the next season of this involvement look like here at Shepherd for December?
Well, I think we learned a lot.
we did learn a lot. And I want to give some examples of volunteers who stepped forward that will kind of show how people, the congregation, can get involved. We had George Krabby from the Adult Men's Ministry and some of his buddies decided to take a night. And they were going to cook hot dogs and hamburgers on the patio, and it's 110. I said, George, we're not going to do that, But they went to Costco, bought sandwiches, brought them in, served them to the families, engaged with the families. George was an overnight host. He stayed all night. And he would do it again in a heartbeat. And the Condiato family, families got involved in coming together and serving and just fellowship with the families. And they wanted to do that. We had our women's Bible study group. They're so good at cooking. So they made lots of meals. Then we had Debbie Osman and Monica from the preschool who came, and they came again because they enjoyed helping out and just, so there's lots of different ways to get involved. Serving food, preparing food, playing with the kids, creating some activities, and that's what we will have sign-up sheets. We will advertise more through the e-news. And we'll do that in November, shortly before December.
And the part about not doing it in the summer if we can
Yes.
help it.
We've
Well, we
made-
lost a lot of volunteers because people were leaving town.
Oh,
the
sure.
youth group decimated in the summer.
Yep.
Getting
So-
out of town for the heat.
Yeah, so we lost a lot of potential volunteers that we want to try and touch base with now. So, there are lots of different ways to get involved, and we hope that we can get some of the other Bible study groups, the preschool
Oh, yeah.
families
Youth group?
involved, the youth group involved, because it really is a very satisfying way to serve. It's also quite eye-opening. This is a segment of people that we don't normally come into contact with. I mean, yeah, we all know single moms, but when you think about what our traditional view of a family is, it's a mother and a father and the kids. It's not that way anymore. You have single moms, you have single dads, you have two moms, you have grandparents. So it's something different than what you will see on an everyday basis. And it really is, it's eye-opening and it's heartwarming.
I think it's easy for us to avoid coming into close contact with
Sure.
people in different socioeconomic situations than us. And so to have the opportunity to bring them here where we gather, where we are familiar with one another, and welcome them into our family for a week is an incredible chance for us to actually just get in that habit of seeing people as people and stepping out in faith and in generosity toward trying to serve people the way that God has blessed us and you can use us as an extension of His hands and feet in the world. So I'm looking forward to December. And as someone who's regularly pretty highly involved with the high school youth group, I can assure you I'm going to be encouraging them to be a part of that.
Good.
So as we think about just the whole experience of Family Promise, the great opportunities that affords people, the chance to step out in almost any level of comfortability, whether it's just signing up to provide a meal, or just wanting to play with kids, or just wanting to donate goods or donate money to a cause that matters. Each of those things makes a difference in the whole effort of a week. And I think is a great step out in faith for people that are looking for ways to engage with their faith in a more real way. So we've talked about all that stuff, but from just a personal perspective, for the three of you, how has this been particularly encouraging? What maybe have you learned, or what would you say to somebody who's considering it but maybe just hasn't crossed that line yet? What was the difference that it made for you, or what was the lesson that it taught you, the encouragement that it gave you that you just want to share with the people who haven't had the chance to experience that?
Okay, I'm going to go first.
Okay.
So nobody cries.
Thanks, Pam.
So all three of us spent every evening getting to know these families for an entire week, and helping serve and play with the kids. And so I think we really got a chance to get to know them. And on the following Sunday, when they were leaving and they got on that van and we hugged them goodbye, it was very emotional because we knew that we had made a difference in their lives for that week. And they're moving on to another church, which the same thing will happen. But I think for all of us, we got out of our comfort zones, and it was a good thing. And I know that our volunteers felt the same way every night that they came. We are making a difference in the lives of others and helping them, not a hands out, but a hand up, helping them get back on their feet, providing shelter and food and fellowship for a week. And it's just a feeling that I got that I'll never forget, and that's why we're doing it again, and we'll do it again.
Oh, cool. Thanks for sharing. Marianne, how about you?
I think something that really touched me was seeing people from both of our campuses come together, because there's a lot of people that I don't know. I've been around for a long time, but I still don't know everyone. So to get these people to volunteer, and I'm going, I don't recognize that name, and then being able to put a face with a name and getting to know each other. So not just a support for the family, but to find out more about each other, to learn more about the people that don't go to the same campus that I do. So that meant a lot to me, and to see both worship spaces come together and work for the same common goal.
Yeah. I would say kind of the same thing. It was great to meet a lot of people from our church on our sign-up Sundays. That was awesome. But still, I think the overwhelming thing for me was how much generosity came out of this experience and how much it was appreciated by the families.
It's amazing to see what happens when we truly do step out in faith and try to do the things that God designs His people to do. Even just this last week in worship, we were kind of reflecting on a verse, you're God's handiwork, and He's prepared these good things for you to do in advance. And this is one of those tangible opportunities for anyone of any level of comfortability, any level of life. You can bring a baby or a child in with you as you come to serve these families, or you can be well into retirement. And all throughout that spectrum, people have an opportunity to see other people that God has made and extend His love to them through their actions or through their gifts or just through their time. So, well, I just want to say thank you to you three, June, Marianne, and Pam, for coming into the studio, for sharing with us about Family Promise. As we hopefully gear up for another really successful week in December, a chance for us to grow as a congregation, to grow as a church and school, to grow as a community here in Scottsdale and in Phoenix, and just get to know our neighbors a little bit better. So I just want to say thanks again, and we look forward to what's going to happen in December.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank
John.
you, John.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.